Hello, how are you guys doing today? I'm doing good. I actually just woke up. So it's kind of been a crazy day today. I mean, not really, but kind of. So we had plans to go to Cascade tonight, and it was absolutely beautiful all day long. Blue skies, and I was like, oh, thank God, it's gonna be so pretty for Cascade tonight. And then, come on. We went to a friend's house. We left our house about like 5:15, 5:30, and we went to our friend's house downtown, and like all met up there. And then like we were taking these two women that Alex is friends with, or that he works with. And so we were like heading to the racetrack where it's at, and it started getting like really dark out. And I was like, please tell me it's not gonna rain. And we were like 10 minutes away from the racetrack, and it literally just like started to downpour, like absolutely downpour. And up to the point where we were going to the parking lot, it's like you park in like this like grass area, and it's like, it was real muddy. And I looked at Alex, and I was like, and he was kind of like, oh, he was like, and his friend, this one girl was like, I hope they're not gonna, like, would they cancel it? And he was like, well, they canceled it last year when we got out there. He's like, but he was like, it was like lightning and thundering and stuff like that. And it literally would not stop. Like, it was like downpour. And so we got there, and I looked at him, and I go, I'm not really about all this rain. You know, I'm not 20 anymore. I don't, like, that's not my favorite thing in the entire world. Like, to walk somewhere to go see a show and then be soaked by the time you get, you know what I mean? And he goes, are you saying you don't want to go? And I said, would you really care if I like did not go? He goes, no. He was like, if you don't want to go, babe, don't feel like you have to go. And I said, well, let's sit here for a couple minutes. So we sat there for like 10 minutes, and it wasn't letting up, like, at all. And he's like, you know it's gonna let up within a half an hour. And I was like, well, do you want to sit here for a half an hour, or you guys can go and I can sit here for a half an hour? And Melissa and Jason were supposed to meet us there too, and they ended up not going. So I was like, you know, either way, he was like, well, if you don't want to go. And I was like, yeah, I mean, because it's like in this area that's was like really gonna be muddy and stuff, even if it had rained. I said, you know what? I said, you guys go have fun. He was like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah, because by the time we got there, we were only going to be there for an hour and 15 minutes anyway, because it was like, by the time that the show started and ended, I was like, just go have fun. I said, I'm going to go home and get some food. So I got some food, I came home. He texted me like 45 minutes later, and he was like, the rain just stopped. And I was like, yay. He was like, what? I was like, okay, fine, have fun. So anyway, like back in the day, like I would have gotten like really upset about that. Like, I'm missing the show because of the rain. I'm like, now I'm just like, there's some of you I'm sure out there that are like, I totally get you, I relate. You know what I mean? And then there's some of you out there that are like, you didn't go? Yeah, I didn't go. I didn't feel like getting soaking wet today. It just wasn't. That wasn't the day that I was wanting to have. So anyway, I got some food, and I watched 2 episodes of Dancing Queen. It's hot in here. Alyssa Edwards show on Netflix. And then I was like, I'm gonna lay down for just a little bit, I think. And I fell asleep for like an hour. It was nice. I slept with the dogs. And before that, Alex had made, like before we went down there, Alex had got this crock pot rice cooker thing, and he made this like, all this like chicken and rice for the dogs and fed them, and he was all excited about how much extra rice he had left. He's so funny. So anyway, and then I was just taking the dogs outside, and gave PB his medicine. And I texted Alex, I was like, how was it? He was like, it's good. They went to some like grill place afterwards, right by the racetrack. There was like also like these like flight simulation things going on. That's kind of like why it was like something to do with racing. I don't know. But that's why the concert thing was going on today. Like they were having it because of that. So he was like, we went to this grill like kind of across the way until stuff died down. he was like, we're going back to so-and-so's house, and then we're going to decide from there if we're going to go out or if I'm just going to come home. And I was like, okay. So he'll either be going out for a little while, or he's going to Uber at home. And I am running over. Tanya's at the kennel. She had wolf stock all day today. I am running over there real quick to say hi to her. And then I'm going to get a Diet Coke while we do the vlog, and I'm going to vlog, and by that point Alex will either be home, and yeah, or he'll not be home, and then I'll listen to my audiobook for a little bit. He had to work for a while today, had a bunch of stuff to do, and I made videos and got my coffee and cleaned up around the house and stuff like that. I finally have all of my laundry caught up. Usually Alex, it's interesting, like after like a show, he'll say to me like, oh my God, I'm so sorry you missed it. It was like the greatest show in the entire world. I wish you would have been there. And he sent me a couple videos of it, but he wasn't like, oh my God, it's the greatest show ever, you know? But he had just met Cascade in Las Vegas too. So I don't know, maybe it was not as big a thing for him as before. Why are my windows fogging up like this? This is weird. Do I not have any... I was like, do I not have any windshield juice in my windshield wipers anymore? I really don't want to have to turn on my... I wonder why there's like all these... Well, it was storming really hard earlier, but I wonder why because there's all these like trucks from the electric company out. The only thing I do not love about Dancing Queen by Alyssa Edwards, I mean, it's so, it's really well done. If you like Dance Moms, it's a lot like Dance Moms. It's very little about drag, like drag queens, and it's a lot about, like dance and the dance studio that he owns. It's really about that. And, the only thing that I don't like about it, let's see, I'm gonna try to turn the heat on for a little bit here, is that like the scenes that are him doing drag are like very contrived, if that makes sense. Like they're highly edited. They're not like him in a bar or him in a pageant or anything like that. It's like choreographed, highly edited scenes, and they're always at the end of the episode, and maybe like that was their plan for it. It just doesn't, I don't know, it comes across as, I don't know, it just doesn't work for me, personally, but who am I? I'm nobody. That's the only thing I think about it. It just seems like really, really highly edited to me. It's like he'll go to some bar, and then like, okay, like this one bar that he went to, it's like the very first bar he had ever performed in. He did like a drag pageant there or something. Not the first one that he ever performed in, because the very first, he says in there, the very first drag bar he ever performed at was the Rose Room in San Antonio, Texas, and that's where Erica Andrews and a bunch of queens got, like, they all started. They worked there. Whitney Page, a bunch of queens that were like, they were huge drag queens back in the day. And he did like an amateur drag night there. But this other one that's like in Mesquite, Texas, where he like won some pageant, he like goes there and he's like talking to this guy. It's real funny because this one guy that he like hooks up with, he has like no chemistry with, and it's like, it's just funny how they show it. But anyway, I mean, he doesn't hook up with him, he goes on a date with him, if I said that. He goes on a date with him. It's cute. The whole show is very, very PG-13-ish. It's very well done. And so anyway, he's out at this bar, and then like he comes out and he does that Shania Twain, I feel like a woman, but it's like this really edited like performance with like, it's too much, okay? It's not like, if you've been to a drag show, you'll watch it and be like, yeah, this isn't like a drag show. I mean, not that drag shows aren't choreographed and pageants aren't and stuff like that, but not like in a movie it's like a movie sequence, you know what I mean? So I had Taco Bell tonight and I'm regretting it. I didn't even nearly eat all of it, and my stomach is kind of hurting me. I don't know if it's because of the beans or what. Because I had a Sierra Mist and I didn't even drink all of it. My pup stepped have been so good today. I was just like, where's my phone? I was just like looking around. I was like, I don't see my phone. Where is it? There it is. It's on the floor. My pups have been so good today. That sounded like a line from a children's book, didn't it? The pups have been so good today. But they have. I listened to a lot of my audiobook today while I was driving around. And, I went to Meijer because I had to get some leave. Today's the first day that I've taken a leave for like a migraine, and it's probably been 2 weeks. And, like my head was like throbbing all day today because of the storms. That was kind of partly why I didn't want to go tonight too. It's just like, I was really trying to pull it together. My head was hurting. Sometimes when my head is like really, really hurting, my social anxiety was kind of bad today too. Like when we met at this anyway, like when my migraines are really hurting, sometimes I kind of have to like work harder to like pull it together to be like, okay, Peter, like we're gonna go enjoy this. You know what I mean? Like sometimes I just am so sidetracked that all I want to do is just like sit there and not do anything else, you know? And my migraines really haven't been bothering me that much lately, and I don't know if it was because of the storms today or whatever, but it was beautiful all day before it started storming tonight. So I don't know why it was hurting all day today, but my head was like, maybe it was because the storms were coming, but my head was like pounding all day today, like right, like my pressure, like migraines right there. And but we went over to Alex's friend's house, and like I know him and his girlfriend. They're really, really nice. And there was like five other people there, and I didn't really know them except for this girl that Alex, like one of these girls that Alex works with. But then the other five I didn't know, and I don't know, for some, like I just sat there on the couch and like Alex was like standing in the kitchen talking to his friend, and I was like sitting on the couch, and this guy was like, and the guy was really nice. I was just kind of like, oh, so like, how are you? And he was like, I'm good, how are you? And I was like, I'm good. And then that was it. And then he had like a fan, and he was friendly. They were all real friendly. I don't know, just sometimes it like bothers me more than others. And I just kind of felt like real on edge today. And he had a fan, and I said, your fan? And he was like, yeah, and he went and like kind of explained to me about this. He had like a fan like I use in my videos. And I was like, oh, I said, so he like handed me the fan, and I like flipped it. He was like, oh, you can flip a fan or something like that. And I said, yeah, I said, I like make YouTube videos, and I said, I like flip a fan. And he was like, oh. And I go, I mean, like, that's not what the videos are about. Like, I'm not, like, I don't. And he goes, oh. And I go, no, like, I mean, like, the videos, and this is Peter Monn social anxiety times 100. And I'm like where I can't say anything right. And I'm like, no, like, I mean, I don't. And like Alex from the kitchen, he goes, it's real funny. He does these funny videos, and he like flips a fan in it. And the guy goes, oh, I get it. And I'm like, I don't know. I just felt like real awkward in this whole setting today. So Alex is like, so are we ready to go? I'm like, yep, let's go. Let's get back into my car. Let's get back into my safe place. I'm ready to go. I sometimes don't know what to do with myself in situations like that. Like, I don't know what to say. Like, I don't know how to, like, talk to people sometimes. Like, I'm real good, like I said on here the other night, like, I'm real good with, like, let me put my hand out and shake your hand and be like, hey, how are you doing? And it's nice to meet you. And what's your name? Oh, I'm Peter. It's nice to meet you. Like, I can do all that. But then it's, like, after that, like, I'm not great with that. Oh, my God. And maybe this was the situation, but, you know, put me face to face with somebody else that, you know, has social anxiety, and it's, like, a mess. Because we're just kind of looking at each other like, huh. You know, like when you're growing up and you're like, mom has a friend, and like you go hang out, and like because they have a kid and you're supposed to be friends with that kid, but like you don't have anything in common. Like, yeah, that was me in the living room today with the fan conversation. And then because I don't like silence, I start asking questions, and I'm like just dumb questions, you know. The thing that's interesting to me, though, in situations like that I notice, because I go into kind of like, because I don't know how to have conversations with people, so I either just sit there, and I really try not to, like, get on my phone, because I just sometimes think that's rude when you're in a setting like that. So I try to, like, talk to people, right? So I'll be like, so, like, did you work today? You know what I mean? And it's really interesting to me, like how, like, 90% of the time, like, people, like, never, like, keep the conversation going or ask questions back. And maybe I personalize it because I'm so socially anxious, but then to me, it feels like, well, they don't really want to have a conversation with me, you know? So I just kind of sit there, and then, like, after I've asked a couple questions, I'm just like, okay, you know? And you know what's so weird about it is that, like, if I'm in a setting, even if it's people that I don't know, like if Alex and I went out to dinner, let's say with a couple that I had never met before, like somebody he works with and their boyfriend or husband or whatever, and I had never met them before, like just the four of us at dinner, like I could do that, like, and be completely normal. But it's like, it's a fine line between, like, being socially anxious and socially awkward. It's like, at some point, it's like, I just become awkward. I'm just like, like, I don't know what to say. But, like, at a dinner, I can be, like, completely normal, you know what I mean? Like, oh, so, you went to Butler. Oh, that's great. Like, what year did you graduate? Oh, my God, you know, do you know so-and-so? Like, my undergraduate degree's in English, you know, like, you know what I mean? Like, but, I'm gonna pull right in front of Tanya's house right here because I'm going to the kennel, but she's actually texting me. Oh, she just said at house. Well, let me turn around since I went by her house. I put all of my water bottles back there in the recycling bin, and now my one metal water bottle is rolling around back there. I can hear it. I don't know that I'll ever, you know, I try so hard to be better with being socially awkward and having social anxiety, and sometimes I feel like I'm doing great with it, and other times I just don't. Today I just didn't feel like I was doing that great with it. She said she's at the house, but I don't see her car here. I feel like she's probably on her way back, and she said she's going to be here. She sure didn't stay at the kennel long. She said she's going to be at the kennel for half an hour. I feel like a woman. Where are you at?
I just texted you. I'm at the house.
Where's your car?
Okay. Are you already there?
Yeah, so you're not at the house.
Okay.
Well, I'm like, you texted me you're at the house, and I'm like sitting here, I'm like, where's her car at? Are you coming out here? I'm so confused. She'll have to run out. Oh, maybe she wants to go to the fountain pop. Feel like you guys, my eyes are getting so bad. I need readers so bad.
What up?
What up? I need readers so bad. I feel like a woman. Her legs look so skinny and tan. Are you coming? Okay. Hey Eric, how are you? Good, it's good to see you. I was talking to Melissa the other day, and I was telling her that, like, I was like, do you have a plumber that we could use to, like, because we need to have our garbage disposal redone. I was thinking of this because of Eric, because he's, like, fixed so many things in our house for us. He's so awesome. And I was like, do you have a plumber that you use that we could use? And she was like, what do you need it for? And I was like, Well, we need a garbage disposal redone. Like, it broke and then we fixed it and now it's broke again. And she's like, do you just need it like replaced? And I was like, yeah. And I'm like way over here on the edge and she's gonna try to get in my car and it's gonna be like, she's gonna get in the grass. Yeah, it's like soaking wet. For some reason this year in Indiana, it's like when it rains, it like literally floods like all the yards. She's like, oh, she was like, Jason just replaced ours. She was like, he could do yours. I was like, are you serious? I wish I had that gene. I was gonna take this class like years ago, this class for like all types, you know, I was gonna say all types of people. I mean, just really anybody though, that doesn't isn't good at technological stuff or like changing a tire. Like you learn how to change a tire, you learn how to like do simple stuff around the house and like, you know, like change, well, I now know how to change a fuse at my house and stuff like that, but like, I was gonna take this class because I was like, it would probably be good for me to learn some of this basic stuff. Have any of you out there taken a class like that? Like, I think that would be like interesting and good for me. Because I don't know how to do a lot of stuff like that, you know? I used to make this joke back in the day. That I said, hold on a second, I'm about to tell a joke. I used to tell this joke back in the day, and I was like, when people would say, how do you change a tire? And I'd say, you take a Jiffy Lube. Anyway.
That's some funny stuff right there.
How was Woodstock?
It's good.
Did you get rained on, or were you out of there by then?
Nope.
All right, well, I'm gonna get off here. I'll be back in just a little while, you guys. Okay, I'm leaving Tanya's house. Look at my hair. I don't feel like putting my hat back on. And here we go. So, Tanya and I drove around, talked for a while. She was telling me about the concert she went to last night. What is this? Somebody dumped all their trash in the middle of the road. Rude. And I got a bottle of water at the gas station, and she got a chocolate milk. Why can't I think of the concert that she went to now? Well, I said it about 10 times this week on my vlog, so, I want to say Billy Crowington, but that's not who it is, but I like him. Why can't I think of who it is that she went to? You guys are like shouting it. You're like, well, we know more than you do, Peter. Anyway, let me plug in my phone here. Another muggy night. I can't believe it's like middle of October. Well, not middle of October, but it's like the first week of October and it still is warm outside like this. Spookathon starts a week from tomorrow night. I think at midnight it starts. I need to check. Since I'm one of the co-hosts, it's me and two other people. And since we like put up our announcements, we really haven't talked much about it. So I need to talk to them this week and kind of see when it starts on the 15th. Is that next Sunday? What is today? The 6th, 7th. Yeah, so that'd be next Sunday it starts. And I'm excited about it. I have to make like my final TBR, which is like to be read. And I know what my book with purple on the cover is going to be, and I know what my book with pictures is going to be because I ordered it from Amazon and it just came today, and I was so excited. Somebody recommended this to me like a while ago, and I have a friend of mine that reads a lot of like graphic novels, and so I've like kind of wanted to get into graphic novels, but like, you know, they're kind of like comics but books, and I have a hard time getting into it. Excuse this one little like old lady casino hair right here, but like I have a hard time getting into them. And he's like, you know, one that you would really like, and he was like, so he suggested this to me, and I couldn't find it anywhere that I went, so I ordered it. Have I already mentioned it on here? You guys are like, Peter, you already told us what it was. And so I ordered it I ordered it from Amazon, and it came today in the mail. So excited. It was actually sitting on the front porch reading when it came, and the guy like pulled up, and I was like, oh my God, here it is. Back in the day, we used to order, I'm gonna pull in here because I think my husband texted me. Back in the day, we used to order so much stuff online. It seemed like we got packages all the time, but we rarely order anything anymore online, so. It's like crazy busy out tonight. Like there's, oh my God, look at this Taco Bell, it's packed. I'm gonna pull in here to the 24-hour animal vet, which I would like to say that we've never been to before, but we've been here several times with the dogs. The animal vet is expensive. I'm gonna stay here for a second because I'm gonna text him and he'll probably text me back. This one time, God, this is probably, must it be 6 or 7 years ago? I had been like running around all day long, and I came home and like PP was acting really weird, and he was like standing, like I came into the bedroom and he was like, I was like, PP, where are you? And he was like standing in the corner, like facing the wall, and he was like all hunched over like that. And so like I picked him up and I put him on the bed, and I was like, PP, what's wrong? And he was like acting kind of like dazed and stuff, and he was acting really weird, and I was like, PP, what's going on? And I like texted Alex, and I was like, something's wrong with PP. And he was like in a meeting at the time, so he like got out of the meeting and he like called me, and he's like, what's wrong with him? And I was like, I don't know, he's like acting really weird. And he's like, well, did he cut himself, or is there anything wrong? Like, did he get hurt? And so I'm like looking on him, and I could see like right here there was like this little bump, and it was literally like this small when it like was right here. And I was like, well, he's got this little bump on him. I said, but I don't know what it is. And Alex was like, okay. And he was like, well, just kind of watch him. And he's like, I'll be home in like an hour. So I went downstairs to go get like a dog treat, and like I was gonna bring up some water. I thought maybe he's dehydrated, and I didn't want to take him downstairs. I wanted him just to be comfortable, so I was gonna bring it up to bed. So I went downstairs, and I came back upstairs, and I was kind of like watching him over the course of like a half an hour, but I was kind of like, just like, we had the lights off and the fan on, and we were just kind of hanging in there. And so I turned on the light, and the thing that was like this big had like gotten bigger, and it was then like this size on his face. And I panicked, and I called Alex, and I said, something is wrong with PP. I do not know what is wrong with PP. And so Alex was like, well, I'm on my way home. By the time that he got home, like PP's entire side of his face was like swollen. So we immediately got in the car and brought him here. And Alex, like, we walked and we like rushed inside, and like Alex is like bawling, and I'm like, I'll take care of it. I'm signing paperwork and stuff like that. And they take us back immediately, and the vet was like, he got bit by a spider. And so she gave him an antibiotic, and it went down like that quick. Like, I mean, she gave it to him, and I mean to tell you, within like 30 to 40 minutes, it was completely back to normal, and he was hopping all over the car on the way home and stuff like that. Poor little guy, he didn't know what was going on. It was so scary. And I was like, oh my God, if we hadn't been there and seen that, you know, like, so, and then one time with Tucker, like, we don't have to do this with Boo or PP, but with Tucker, we have to get his glands cleansed, you know? And, I need to get out of here. This place makes me sad. They're, like, putting this dog in the... Aww. But like Tucker, you know, like will scoot on the floor. If you have a dog that does this, you'll know what I'm talking about. Like if he poops, he like scoots like outside, or like on like the rug that's right by the door when we have like one of these, like, you know, where you wipe your feet. He'll like scoot on it, like, you know, and his like butt itches sometimes and stuff like that. So, and that's when like we know that he has to have like his glands cleansed. If you guys have a dog like this, do you know what I'm talking about? And he has to get it done probably like, probably like every 6 months to 6 to 9 months. But Boo and Tucker, or Boo and PP, don't have this problem. Well, we didn't know that it was a problem. And this was when Tucker was like, they were little. They were still real little. And he was like having explosive diarrhea. Like, we would take him outside, and he would just like, and you could hear his stomach. We would take, I know you guys are like, Peter, we really don't care. Well, dog stuff, right? We would take him outside, What is that thing in the... I don't know what that light is. There's like something up in the corner. I don't know what it is. Is it that? Look at that. It just went off when I hit something and then it came back on. But like we would take him outside and he would have like explosive diarrhea, like really bad. And we were taking him outside like literally like we would hear his stomach start to gurgle, and so we would like take him outside again. Poor little guy. Well, we were putting them in their house to sleep. This must have been when they were real young, because we trained them. They sleep in bed with us a lot now, but like we trained them to sleep in their... we have a crate downstairs in the basement. It's a really big crate, but we call it their house. So if we go to your house, they go to their house like that. They love it. Boo goes down there and just sits by himself. He loves to just sit in his house. We leave the door open. Have you guys not heard about... If you train your dog to be crate trained, leave the door open 24 hours a day. And some dogs will go in there. They like it. They like feel safe in there. Like Boo Radley is that dog. Like he likes to just sit in there with like the door open. And ours is at the bottom of our basement, and or bottom of the stairs, like right before you go into the basement. And it's like their food, and we keep their food and water bowl and stuff down there. So anyway, like their dry food and water bowl, and their toys and stuff are down there. So anyway, well, their toys are in the bedroom too. Their toys are everywhere. So even though Tucker's the only one that plays with any toys in our house. So I go down there and I'm like getting ready to put them in their house, and I'm like half in the house, and I'm like putting the blanket in there and getting it real nice for Boo and Tucker, and like Boo's already in there, and so I'm like trying to get it like smoothed in, and all of a sudden like behind me I like heard Tucker, and I like heard like the sound of what sounded like diarrhea, and I turned around and there was like blood all over the floor, and I panicked. I ran into the laundry room, and I like grabbed a towel and I wrapped it around his bottom, and like he looked so scared in his face, and I said, Alex, it was like, Tucker's bleeding, Tucker's bleeding, Tucker's bleeding. And we like ran out of the house and like immediately and like went to the same place up here that we had taken pee-pee. And unfortunately, Boo Radley, well, fortunately for Boo Radley, he's never had to go there for any late night visits. It's so expensive, you guys. Like a regular vet visit compared to that overnight vet thing is like, it's unreal. And actually, the vet and I kind of like, I kept on asking her how much it was going to be. I was like, because she was like, she doesn't work there anymore. The ones that work there now are super nice, but she was like saying some stuff to me, and she's like, well, like we can't do any procedures or tell you anything. And I was like, I had ran out and I had like taken my wallet, but the credit card that we put like the pet stuff on, I didn't have it, so I was gonna have to run home. It's literally like 15 minutes, 10 minutes from her house. And I was like, well, can I run home really quick and go get it? And she was like, yeah, no problem, you know, whatever. And she was like, but like we can't start any procedures until we have payment. I'm like I'm good for the payment. I was like, how expensive is it? And she's like, yeah, like we're I can't remember how she said it, and she's like, said something about, I'm not about money, I'm about helping dogs. And I go, well, that may be true. I said, but pretty much all I've heard since we walked in here is how you won't start the procedure until you get payment. She's like, well, those are policies of the hospital, not mine. I go, just do whatever you need to do. I go, I'll pay for it. I don't care. It's just do whatever you need to do. So anyway, I thought it was like something internal. I was like terrified to find out that he had like these not swollen glands. I can't remember what they're called, but anyway, you have to go in and like clean them out and stuff like that, so like they can poop regularly. And now Tucker's fine. That was scary. I was like, I didn't know what that was about. I feel like there's been one other thing with, like that's been it with Tucker and Boo. PP had a spider thing. Oh, the other thing was PP was really, really depressed, and like we could just tell, like he was like super lethargic, and he was like really like quiet. Like, he wasn't like running with the dogs, and like if we were in bed with him, he'd kind of like keep his distance from us. Like, we couldn't figure out what it was, and so I'm like line Googling it. This time I took him to the vet. Actually, we didn't take him to that place, but I was like Googling, and I was like dogs being distant, dogs being lethargic, and whatever. And he seemed sad is what he seemed like. I don't even know how to explain it, but I mean, when you've had a dog long enough, you can kind of pick up on, you know, and he seemed really sad. And I think I Googled something like dogs seem sad or something like that, and it came back, and it was like, you know, like often when dogs are in pain, they can't express pain, so it comes across to sadness or something. And I said to Alex, I go, I think Pee-Pee's like in a lot of pain, but I'm not sure like why, like what's going on with him. And you know, we like sat and we like fell all over him, and he seemed completely fine. This was long before like the heart disease stuff. This is like a while ago, because this was like the first time it had happened. And so probably 5 years ago, more than that, maybe a little bit. And Alex was like, I don't know. And so the next morning I took him into the vet, and she was so good, but I was like so frantic. I was like, I don't know what's wrong with him. He seems so upset. And she's like, he's losing a tooth. She's like, it's really painful for dogs to lose teeth. She like knew right away. She like checked him all over, you know, where they like do all this. And she like checked him all over, and then she like looked in his mouth, and she's like, he's losing a tooth. And she's like, as soon as it comes out, he'll be completely fine. And you'll probably find the tooth. And she's like, you know, we're not going to pull the tooth. And she was like, but it's a little loose right now. And she's like, it's probably really sore for him. And there was a reason why. I think sometimes they do pull dogs' teeth, but there was a reason why she didn't pull it. And I can't remember what it was. But anyway, so she was like, you know, he'll be fine and whatever. And like the very next day, like I woke up and I'm like, Pee-Pee's like, and I'm like, oh, he's back to normal. He must have lost that tooth. Isn't it sad to think that little animals like have pain and they don't know how to express that because they don't have, you know, like a way to express to us when they're in pain or whatever? That water tastes so good. There's like this whole thing on my phone. I don't know what it is. It keeps on like rotating around. I don't know what it's doing. I probably hit some button on my camera that I have no idea what I hit. It's going back, it must be like auto-focusing or something, because it's going back and forth between like this picture of a person, and then it's just like, it's rotating around, and it's driving me nuts, to be quite frank. Yeah. Oh my Lord. Tomorrow we'll probably go to brunch. That's kind of mellow all day today. I thought Alex would eventually text me and be like, oh my God, Cascade was amazing, and send me videos. And he did send me kind of some videos, but he didn't really say like, they were kind of like, there was like a video of a song that I like, and then it was like a picture of all of them standing there, but it wasn't like how he usually is. He's usually like so excited, and he'll be like, oh my God, I can't believe you missed this is great, and blah, 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 whatever. So I have a feeling maybe this show wasn't as great as we had hoped for. I was going to start talking about Tanya in that concert again, but I can't remember what I was going to say. I remember back in the day when I would go to concerts with my friends, and we would always be like, you know, the last ones to leave. You'd like walk out. You were in no hurry. I'm gonna pull in here. He keeps on texting me. You know, we'd be in no hurry to get home, and Do you know what I mean? You guys are like, there's probably a lot of you out there that are like, yeah, we still do that. You know, like, and you're like, you stay till the very end, and like, are they gonna do another encore? Are they gonna do another encore? And you stay till the very end, and then you're in this long line of traffic that takes you 3 hours to get home, and then you stop and get something to eat and whatever. Okay, I'm not about all that anymore. I don't know when it started happening to me, but I think it was sometime in my early 30s that when I would go to concerts. What did he say? He's like, do you care if I stay out for a little bit? I was like, no, stay out. Have fun. He's at this club downtown called Rebel. But anyway, when I was on here the other day and I was like, oh, I don't ever go to concerts anymore. And then I was like, well, I did go to a couple concerts and now I can't remember what the concerts were that I had gone to. But anyway, then like in my early 30s, like when I would go to shows and stuff, like, or concerts, like, now Ultra, we always stay till the very end and we're like walking out with like all the thousands and millions of people. And that's kind of fun and I don't mind that, but we also like Uber it back or taxi it back, so it's not like we're like sitting in traffic, you know what I mean? And even being in an Uber is not bad. We usually always seem to get like drivers that like can get back to South Beach really quick. But like in my like early 30s, it started early for me, late 20s, early 30s. Like when you could tell like the concert was getting to an end, like we would be like, do you want to go? Yeah, let's go. Let's beat traffic. And then we would leave, you know? But also like back then, I was going out a lot with my friends. And so, you know, like we would go to a concert and then we would go home and like take showers and like, you know, because we've been funky outside dancing and stuff. And then we would like, you know, clean up real quick and like go out for the night. Like that's not about it for me anymore, you know what I mean? Like I'm not about all that. Like I haven't always been a homebody, you know, it's like, there was like a long period of my life where like you couldn't keep me at home. I kind of go through phases, I feel like I've gone through phases in my life. But that thing is like driving me nuts at the top. I wish I knew what it was, but I don't have any clue what it is. That's the on-off button. What is this over here? Is that it? Touch AF canceled. I don't know what that just means that I just did, but I hope it doesn't change anything. Maybe if I just touch it, because it's like, no, it's not doing anything. I don't know what it's doing, you guys. It's totally driving me crazy. I mean, I know you can't see it, but now it's going back and forth between like auto and whatever. I'm gonna have to like, when I turn this off for a second, take a break, I'm gonna have to like see what it says. Does it seem different to you? Did it just change? It seems like maybe it changed or something. I don't know. But anyway, there were long periods in my life where I loved to go out. I think the other thing is, you know, like, I started going out to bars really, like, early. And, you know, it was kind of my way of, like, we have talked about this on here before, like, going to, like, drag bars. And that was, like, when I felt like, you know, like, the gay community, I had kind of arrived. Like, you know, I would feel like, that was like, I would say, between like 18 and 19. When I started like carrying drag queens drag into bars so that I could like get into bars. There's like a group of us. My one friend, he lives in Nashville. He's super cute. I always kind of had a crush on him. He's still real cute. He and his husband, or I don't know if he's married or not, his boyfriend. They've been together forever. And he's super nice. We've been we've been like, not super close friends, but we've been friends now for like, God, since we were both 18 years old. So, you know, coming up on 30 years of our lives. I can remember, you know, going to a bar in Indianapolis, bar on Meridian called Tomorrow's, and we would all carry like drag in there to get in there because we were all like, at the time, like, you know, 18, 19 years old. And I can see us like all, there was like this, okay, it stopped, but then I also had to like pull over and figure it out. Oh, now it's doing it again. What is going on? I'm so confused. It was like, the thing that you turn, it was like, I don't know what I did, you guys. Well, anyway, I'll figure it out tomorrow. But there was this long booth in this bar called Tomorrow's. Tomorrow's was kind of like this restaurant, bar, I don't know. I mean, it wasn't the nicest bar in the world. Oh, I just got that in my face. It wasn't the nicest bar in the world, but you know what? I didn't care because I was with my people, is how I felt. And, but I can remember, like, we would all like sit up on the top of the booth, like the edge of the booth, and we would like watch the show. And God, if you're from Indianapolis and you ever went to a drag show, I mean, the names back then, Jamie Hunter, Lena Meyer, Stacy Stevens, what was her name? God, they were so funny. Some of them were so good. Samantha Sinclair. What was the one? Blake Adams, and we used to go over to their house for chili dinners on Sundays. They would have these big, they all lived together. Gina Jones, Blake Adams, Stacy Stevens, and Austria, when she moved here, because she was from Illinois, they like all lived together, and they would have like these chili suppers on Sundays that we would go to. And then we would all go out. They would do a show together on Sunday nights. I feel like the show on Sunday nights was at the 10, which was like this lesbian bar that closed down. It was like, that was a fun bar. They called it the Dirty Dime. And this woman named Cheryl, who was also a bartender, she owned it. And she had this big like Cadillac or something, and she would park in this like space like right out front. And so they would stop the music and they would come over the announcements and they'd say, somebody parked in Cheryl's parking space. Could you please move your car so Cheryl could park in her parking space? She had like a parking space right out front. Oh God, those were the days. We would just bar hop from one bar to the other. Go eat at some place at 4 o'clock in the morning, like that Peppy Girl that I was talking about. There's also like this restaurant here in town that we would eat at sometimes. It was like this gay restaurant called Ollie's. It's like a bar restaurant. Or we go to like Steak and Shake or Taco Bell and take it back to somebody's house. I'm not saying I didn't have one night stands, but that wasn't really my thing. Like I never really loved having one night stands. I don't know, I just didn't, I've always been somebody that like wanted to be in a relationship, you know? Even back then, I dated people for a little bit here, a little bit there, you know? It was interesting because when my ex and I broke up, I went out one night to this gay bar here called Greg's. I didn't go out a whole lot that year. I went out with this friend of mine, Liz, but I didn't, like, we just go out every once in a while to dance and stuff like that. But she and I went into this, we went to Greg's, which is this gay bar, and I saw this guy, and he was like, we ended up going on a date, and there was like no chemistry there whatsoever, but he, I remember he was like, I did not remember him at all, and he was like, oh my God, blah, 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 whatever, and I used to want to date you so bad back in the day, and I was like, well, why didn't you ask me out on a date? And he was like, it was kind of weird because like he showed me like a picture of what he looked like back in the day from like his Facebook, and I was like, yeah, I kind of like vaguely remember you, but he like looks so different because he was now like, you know, in his late 30s, and he had on like, it was like in the winter, I remember he had on like this like fisherman's sweater, and he was kind of like this beard, and you know, and he was like, well, I always wanted to date you, but I was always afraid to ask, and you always had a boyfriend. And I was like, I didn't always have a boyfriend. He's like, you always had a boyfriend. He's like, you always had a boyfriend. I was like, did I? Like, I don't remember that. But then I look back and I was like, I kind of did. Like, I've kind of always been that like person that has to be in a relationship. That's okay, you know. And I don't know, I just really didn't like. My husband is driving me nuts with the text messaging. Let me pull in here. I don't know, I just like, you know, and it's a different generation today too, with like the dating apps and all that kind of stuff. Like, I mean, I didn't grow up in that era, or I didn't, you know, so like for us to like meet somebody, I'm in that same Speedway I always stop at, you know, like we would go out to a bar and we'd see somebody across the, you know, room, and I'm like, okay, I'm vlogging. So, if you're out having fun, why are you texting me every 5 seconds? But like back in the day, it was so different. And I really think like, I don't know, like it's a different world today. I mean, and it's not just gay bars, it's straight bars too, you know, mixed bars, whatever. Like, I notice that whenever I do go out, it's just not the same, like, as in back in the day, and you'd see somebody and you'd be like, oh, like, I think they're attractive, I think they're cute, you know, like, I want to buy them a drink, or, like, kind of go over and stand by them, or dance and watch them, you know what I mean? Like, and then, like, maybe not the first night, maybe not the second night, but, like, maybe the third night, you go up and try to talk to them, and it kind of made it so exciting, you know, and stuff, and, you know, now it's like, get on an app and hook up with somebody, and it like takes all that away. And it's like, I feel like all that's kind of missed to some degree. And, I mean, there was always kind of that like mentality of like going out and finding cute guys, you know what I mean? Who are we gonna find tonight? Like, you go to the same bar with the same people every day, you know, every 5 nights out of the week, and you think you're gonna see somebody different, you know? And then when fresh meat walks in the door, everybody in town wants some, you know? But I think it's very much like that, like, in the heterosexual world, too. I don't just think that's a gay thing. Like, you know, like, my girlfriends that are single, like, you know, ones that are, like, let's say, late 20s, early 30s, like, like, that I know through Alex, you know, like, they'll, like, go out to a bar with their girlfriends. Well, first of all, like, a lot of people don't really go out anymore the way, I mean, back in the day, we went out. Like, we went to the mall and picked an outfit out for the day, or for the night, you know, and then we would like lay out by the pool, get some sun, and you know, we did it. Like, we went out. It was fun, you know, like our whole Saturday was like all around going out, you know what I mean? And but these girls now, like, you know, that I know, and like younger people just don't love going out. Like, they'll have little house parties, or you know, whatever, and I don't know, it's different, you know, or like, they'll like meet guys on, you know, Plenty of Fish or eHarmony or something. Like, the girls that work for like Tanya, it's like they meet all these guys on like Plenty of Fish, but then they'll like if they go out, which is like rare that they do, they rarely go out, but if they do, then they'll like go out just as like a girl group, and they'll go dancing. It's like, they could care less if they saw a cute guy. And even if they did, they probably wouldn't even talk to him. You know what I mean? So like that whole thing has changed in the last 20 years. I think is so strange. I don't know, it started changing for me, like, you know, it wasn't just about me coming back into the program that had, you know, like this great effect on me not going out as much anymore. I mean, that definitely was a factor, because I thought, like, what am I doing? You know, like, I'm standing here having conversations with people that are probably not going to remember the entirety of the conversation the next day. And, you know what I mean? Like, and I just feel like this is kind of a waste of my time to some degree. And not that all the time. Like, sometimes that I went out, I had a good time, and I met a lot of friends, and I made a lot of good friends by going out and stuff like that. I mean, good, dear friends. I mean, we would never have met Melissa and Jason had we not started going out. We met them literally the night, I think it was the night of our, I think, like, our friends, two of our other friends brought them to our bachelor party that we had, and, which we had in the bar that our friends threw for us, and we had a joint bachelor party. But, I mean, I've made a lot of really good friends. A lot of good friends from going out that I would never have met had I not done that. But, you know, at the same time, this is what would happen is, like, I would be out and, you know, and if you drink and you enjoy going out and having a couple drinks and dancing, like, I think it's totally different. But I don't drink, you know? So for me, it's like, you have to understand, like, that piece is completely out. And, you know, when I would like to go out to a bar, it was kind of fun for me to stand there in a bar and dance a little bit, maybe have a cigarette and a Red Bull and whatever. You can't smoke in bars anymore, okay? Well, I don't drink, can't smoke a cigarette in a bar. You know, it's like, Red Bulls are $7.50. It's like, you know, for me, and I don't like Red Bull a whole lot anyway anymore, so Diet Coke's what, $5, $6, and I'm standing there, and, you know, a lot of the clubs don't play the kind of music that I like. Say, like, I like EDM music, and there's very limited amount of that in Indianapolis. So it's like, I just don't love going out. And then what happens is, you know, if you go out at like 10 o'clock, well, nobody's out. So if you go out at 12 to 1, it's when everybody's starting to come out. But I mean, I'm not 25 anymore, I'm 46. And by, you know, 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning, even though I'm driving around in a car until 5 o'clock, that's totally different, because I feel very safe and I enjoy that. I, you know, like it's my territory. But when I'm in a bar and I'm standing there and I'm talking to people that, like, I don't know, it just, I feel like sometimes, like, this is what goes through my head, I'm wasting a night. Like, I could be at home watching a TV show or a movie, or I could be hanging out with friends or going to dinner, or I could be with my dogs, or I could be vlogging or reading or listening to an audiobook. You know, not that any of those things are better or worse than that. Like, my husband enjoys going out and dancing and stuff, and that's fine, you know? But that's what he enjoys doing. For me, I enjoy doing something else. The other thing is, like, when I do want to go out, then it's really fun for me to go out. Like, Alex, I don't know why he keeps on telling this story to everybody, but when we were in Vegas and we went out with his friend Eric, and Eric took us, you know, to this, I think it was called Garage Bar. And I was, like, ready to go out and be dancing that night. And they were like, I was like, I want to go to Piranha. We haven't been to Piranha since I was here the last time, or, you know, since our wedding. It's been 7 years. And they're like, no. And Eric's like, I got to go to bed early because I got something to do. I said, we never come out here. You were going to take us to Piranha. And so Alex is telling everybody, he's like, Peter, who never wants to go out, was like wanting to go out and stay out. That we did. We stayed out late that night. It was fun. But, you know, I can do that every once in a while and enjoy it. But by and large, like, I'd rather walk around to Walmart. And I know that sounds crazy, but I would. Like, that's just more enjoyable to me. So, yeah. It's weird when I think about, like, those days, though, you know, of... What am I at on time? It's weird when I think about those days from my past, though, you know, of, like, what it used to be like for me, going out. And somehow Tanya and I were talking about smoking pot tonight, and I can't remember, but she's talking about something smelling it at the concert last night, and I said something about, like, and she goes, well, you used to smoke a lot of pot back in the day. And I said, oh yeah, like, I smoked a lot of pot back in the day, a lot. And like all the time. And I was thinking about that, you know, like when I talk about going out a lot, like back in the day, I drank a lot, but like my drinking kind of like ebbed and flowed. You know what I mean? Like there would be periods, there would be like months where I would like try to watch my drinking, but I was still like eating Vicodin and smoking weed. So I could go out and have a real good night where I didn't seem completely fucked up, but I was, if that makes sense. And I smoked a lot of pot. But I wasn't so drunk that I didn't remember like what I was doing, because I wasn't drinking at those times like that. Now the last year of my use, it was all out of control. It was, I mean, it was everything. It was so out of control, you know, and that's where like the cocaine and all that kind of stuff really came into play. But, before that, like 18, 19, yeah, I drank a lot, but it wasn't to the point where, like going out, it wasn't to the point of like that yet. Like I would still kind of like, I could kind of like watch a little bit of how I was drinking. I don't really honestly know how when I look back on that. But I'm thinking about like, okay, well, I can remember how the nights ended, and I can remember the next day. There was a group of us, we used to always go out to brunch at La Peep on Sundays, because I can remember my friend, this Jennifer girl, back in the day, she would tell everybody, she'd be like, okay, this is how much everybody's gonna tip. And I'd be hungover, but I could remember the night before, you know, some of it. So I don't know. Like I was always such a blackout drinker that maybe I just don't even remember looking back on it. I really don't, but I do remember that I always got the breakfast skillet and cinnamon toast at La Peep. I don't know, I remember that. We used to always go to the one downtown. Talking about like people that like you would see back in the day that you had crushes on. Oh my God, I was, the other day, it was Meijer, yeah. And I was like, was it Walmart or was it Meijer? It was Meijer. There was this guy that I literally had the crush on for the longest time. Okay, like I'm talking about like a long time. And I mean, I would just cheese out every time I saw him. And I thought he was so cute. And everybody thought he was cute. Oh my God. He was like the pick of Indianapolis back in the day, you know, and he was never interested in me, but we were just always friends, you know, and I don't really know how to explain, like, you know, I was kind of like that wild child that was friends with everybody, but like could kind of take down a party in 20 seconds. Do you know what I mean? Like I was kind of real reckless too, obviously. So anyway, I was thinking of this one party that I went to, my friend and I, we got in this fight. I used to carry like this, I used to wear like this black biker jacket. It was like real weathered. And then I had this like, for a long time I carried, you guys are gonna be like, what the fuck are you talking about? What are you talking about? I try not to cuss on this channel. But I carried this like binocular case. And my friend, she and I, and she's sober now too, we were at a party over this glass table, and we like, I came for her and I was like, I don't remember a whole lot of it, but I do remember kind of coming for her. And I was like, she had a purse on that looked like a binocular case, but I carried this. Don't ask me. I have no idea why I carried this binocular case, because I thought I was something. I don't know. And I used to keep all kinds of, you know, money and my cigarettes and all kinds of stuff in there. Chapsticks and whatever. So anyway, I said, why do you have my bag? And I like came for her, and like we broke this glass table. And I'll never forget my friend Kevin like picked me up. He was like 6'5". He like picked me up and like threw me over his shoulder. He was like, come on, let's go, we're out of here. I was like, I'm not leaving, she's got my bag. He goes, you have your bag over your shoulder. I was like, God. Oh my God. But anyway, oh, so this guy who will remain nameless, he asked me what I'm doing now. I was telling him what kind of like a little bit about some of the stuff that Alex and I do, and then I was like, he was like, oh, that's interesting. I was like, yeah. And then I was like, and I make YouTube videos and stuff. He's like, you make YouTube videos? He's like, about what? And I was kind of trying to explain it, and I was talking about the vlog, so This is gonna be embarrassing if you're watching my vlog, but whatever. But like, I was sitting there and I was like, he like stopped me, like I didn't recognize him, and I started talking to him and I was like, oh my god, how are you doing, and stuff like that, and he was like, it's fine. It's so weird. It's like, you know, when time goes by and then it's kind of like, even though it was just like going out to bars and stuff, it's like, I don't know, we all went to high school together or something, and he's like, you look great. He said that like 3 times. He's like, you look really good. You look great. You look great. He said it like, you look great. I'm like, thanks. You do too. And I'm thinking, I didn't even recognize you. And it's so funny because he like used to be like very like preppy, cute, and now he's like rugged. I was like, you don't look anything the same. But anyway, I was like 20 years later. He was like, so are you, before, like when we first started talking, he's like, now are you with anybody? I was like, yeah, I've been married for 7 years. And I showed him a picture of Alex and he was like, that's great. And he was like, where'd you guys get married? And I was telling him all about that. He was telling me about his husband, and they live in suburbia. It's funny, you know, it's weird. It's like, we used to all go out and, you know, go to drag pageants and drink and party together, and, you know, now we're settled down, all of us. It's a different generation, you know? Somebody, honestly, that like, it probably doesn't seem like this on here, but that like I look back on times and get like melancholy. Like I can remember like my mom and her friends sitting around and talking about like, oh, the good times of like the 20s, like the early 20s and stuff like that, right? And I'm not somebody that really ever gets like that, but I have to say, like, telling these stories like for a moment, I'm kind of like, God, those were some fun times. Like I kind of miss all that, you know? I don't miss the partying, and you know, like, the thing is for me, like it didn't necessarily stop when I got sober. Like I didn't go out for like my first year and a half or so. Like I went out like a handful of times, like maybe, I don't know, like, you know, 3 to 5 times in my first 2 years I went out. And I wouldn't go out unless I was with like sober people. But after that I okay, it stopped and I didn't even realize it. So anyway, what I was saying was, what was I saying? Pull on your ear so you can remember, wiggle your toes. No, but what I was saying was like, you know, that, you know, like then I like, you know, from going out, but then like I you know, I started hanging out with like Tanya and other people, like when I met people in the program, and like we had a whole, you know, that's when I met her and we became really, really good friends. And so like, I don't know, what was that so I've been sober for 20, I mean, that was at like 2 years that I met her. So around that time was when I started hanging out with her, and we started, you know, all of us traveling together as a group, or going out to dinner, or, you know, going to somebody's house and playing games, or sitting around. And so like, they weren't, you know, every once in a while we would go out somewhere and go dancing and whatever, but not very often, you know, and I didn't care. It was like really, to me, more about like the social interaction of being with somebody that I cared about, if that makes sense. It wasn't so much to me about, it wasn't so much to me about the where we were or anything like that. You know, it's weird, like thinking back, that like I didn't miss that. But then, so my first long-term boyfriend, I met him at the end of my first year sober. It had almost been a year. With my roommate at the time, and we went, it was a drag show actually, and I knew his brother, and so his brother introduced me to him. And And then we were together for like 5.5 years. And in that 5.5 years, we went out sometimes, but not a lot. And then after he and I broke up, I would go out like one night a week. I would go on Sundays to this bar called Utopia, and it's closed down now. I don't know what it is, but it was a lesbian bar, and on Sunday nights they had like this gay guy night, and so I would go there, and it was, oh my God, Sunday nights at Utopia were so much fun, and I would go with my friend, and I would see him there like week after week. And so finally I went up. I've told that story on here before. So finally I went up and I talked to him one night. Because my friend said, if you don't, I'm going to for you. And I was like, oh, I don't want to be embarrassed. And then when he and I got together, we went out a little bit at first. Like we would go, he lived in Seymour, so we would go to Louisville, Kentucky a little bit. But not really in Indianapolis at all. Maybe once or twice. And then over time, like maybe, like the first year we were together, I would say we went out quite a bit in Louisville, like probably every weekend that we would go back and forth, like a weekend here, a weekend there, a weekend here. So probably, but after that first year, no, we kind of stopped going down there. We go every once in a blue moon, but not, not very often. And we went to the casino a lot. We just kind of hung out. We watched, like, we would get DVDs of, like, TV shows. That's, like, when the DVDs of TV shows started coming out. And we would get DVDs of TV shows and just, like, watch them. And we would sit there and just eat. But I enjoyed that, too, just sitting there. I mean, we'd watch Amazing Race in an entire weekend, or something like that, or Project Runway. And then after he and I broke up, I went out a little bit, but not really a whole lot. But I kind of indirectly met all three people that I was with in long-term relationships with in bars, which I think is interesting. Like my first boyfriend, I met him out at a bar. The second one, met him out at a bar. And then Alex, I saw him out at a bar, and then found him later, and yeah, I've told that story enough, but interestingly, not any three of them did I go home with. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what I'm talking about. I was never like, I mean, not that I've never had a one-night stand, because I have. I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm some prude. Trust me, I've had a few one-night stands. And I know that like, I'm just not that person. Like, I never, like, I don't feel bad about it, but, like, I don't enjoy it, and it's like, I'd rather, like, come home and put on my pajamas and, like, eat some food and fall asleep in bed. Even when I was drunk, I like to do that, and just, like, I don't know, drink the last beer of the night and pass out or something. Plus, a lot before I got sober, I had this roommate, and she and I were, like, diehard best friends, and we would come home early from the bar sometimes just so we could, like, we would leave in time, because in Indianapolis they stopped selling alcohol at, like, grocery stores and stuff at 2 o'clock, so we would leave in time so we could go get alcohol, and then we would buy, like, 2 bottles, huge bottles of, of wine, or, a case of beer or something, and we'd come back to the apartment and just continue to drink all night long till we passed out. So, I mean, I didn't really care about all that. I mean, she and I were like, I don't know. I think it was more about companionship to me, I just didn't want to be alone. I think a lot in life it's about companionship, I think it's just that. I remember my mom used to say, like, I would say, don't you want to date again? Don't you want to be married again? And she'd say, I don't know that I really care. And I'd say, really? And she'd say, yeah, I don't know that I really care. She'd say, like, I like to have a companion. I'd like to have somebody to go to the movies with and travel with and, stuff like that. But go to the movies or out to dinner, you know. Did I say the movies already? But she would be like, to be with somebody again and have them tell me what time I need to go to bed. And I'd be like, did Dad tell you that? And she'd say, no. But like, you know, your dad would go upstairs and go to bed and be like, okay, I'm going to bed now. And it's like, well, I'm not going to stay up till 2 o'clock in the morning. You know, she's like, now, she's like, if I want to get a gallon of ice cream and watch the movie and go to bed at 2 o'clock in the morning, I can. She's like, if I want to go to bed at 7 o'clock, I can do that. She's like, you know, she's like, I can kind of do whatever I want. And I think that's an important part of relationships, you know, like allowing the other person to be independent, but then also being joined enough that you make decisions together and you enjoy time together. You know what I mean? Like, I just think that that's important. Like back in the day, like today, would never have happened the way that it did, and it probably even would have ended up in an argument on one side of us. Like, me getting there and not wanting to be soaking wet out in the rain, dancing in the mud, like, I would have done it, but in my head I would have been pissed, you know what I mean? Like, well, I'm doing this for him. Or I would have left and he would have been like, I can't believe you didn't stay. And now it's like, we just want the other person to be happy, you know what I mean? He wants me to be happy and enjoy my night. So if me being happy and enjoying my night means not going, and I want him to be happy and me not going means he's not going to have to listen, you know, to like complaining, or I want him just to go and enjoy it. If he wants to dance in the rain, he can dance in the rain, you know what I mean? And I think like that's where it's important for us to communicate and allow each other to be independent. Back in the day, like, we were just like so like, oh, I mean, if he was doing something, I was doing it. If I was doing it, he was doing it. You know what I mean? Like, we were always like that, and that was not great for our relationship. And oh, I want to talk about my face being red in a second because I figured it out. But anyway, you know, just like last night, like going to my, you know, in-laws' house, like doing that together, you know, or like, you know, spending Sundays together all day, you know, or like going out to dinner the other night. Like, it's important for us that we have like that kind of connection throughout the week. And this is a lot of what we've talked about in marriage counseling too, but also allowing the other person to be independent and having their own interests in their own lives. You know, I think it's really, really important. My ex and I were so enmeshed, and it just was not healthy. It just really wasn't. And then my first, you know, boyfriend and I, we were so independent. We had such our own lives, like completely, you know what I mean? And like Alex and I feel like are like a really, I was going to say perfect, but I don't believe there's anything perfect about a lot of relationships, and definitely not ours. But I think we're a really good balance of the two, you know, and I think it's finding that out. And also communicating with the other person and being honest. Like, you know, when I said to Alex tonight, are you going to care if I don't go? And he was like, no, not at all. And he was like, but are you sure you're okay with not going? I was like, yep, I'm totally fine. You know what I mean? And he's like, I just want you to be okay. And I was like, yep, I'm totally fine, because I ain't getting out in this downpour. But I think it's about, you know, having that healthy balance of communication. And I think not just with, I just had this thought in my head. I don't know why. I'm like, you literally drive around in a car and just talk. Like, that is insanity. Oh my God, I just saw a shooting star. Making a wish. That was weird. I didn't even know we were supposed to have any shooting stars. But not just in, you know, romantic relationships, but I think in any kind of relationship with friends or whatever, you know, coworkers, I think it's important to have those kind of honest conversations. And yeah. Yep. I keep on wanting to bring my sugar chapstick out to the car, but I'm afraid that it'll melt in here, and somebody told me it was $24. So Kara, thank you, that was fantastic. And it's not Sephora brand, it's Sugar brand. I don't know why when I looked at it, I said that. But it's sitting next to the computer in the house, and I use it all the time. And I just don't want to bring it out here because I don't want it to melt. So when it gets a little cooler out, I'll bring it out here. Okay, so the mystery of the red face on my vlog, let me just tell you, I have it all figured out. Or why my face has been red recently, and I was wondering if it was the Halo Kiwi pills. It is not the Halo Kiwi. It is not the Halo Kiwi pills. I did a Lush face mask, a cup of coffee face mask this morning, and my face has been red all day long. It's the Lush mask, and I don't know what it does. I will say this about the Lush face mask, that after I use it and I wash my face with the Kalamazoo face wash, although today I don't think I washed my face with that face wash, but it doesn't matter. After I do that face mask, that specifically the cup of coffee one, right? My skin looks so clear that day. It is unbelievable. So I don't know. Maybe it is you're not supposed to do it like every day. Like, a couple of you said that on there. But like, I think it must, like, you know, rejuvenate my skin or something, because it does look red all day long, like all day. And I mean, I do it down here too, and so it's like here. And then Alex, every time I do it, Alex says to me, "You look like you got sun on your face today." I'm like, so I don't know what it does to your skin, but if you like a little bit of red skin for a day, get the Lush cup of coffee face mask. It really does smell exactly like a cup of coffee, though. It is like so strong, but I love it. So I used that this morning, and like, I don't mind the redness. Like, it's not like an intense, like, it doesn't look like a chemical, like, redness, if that makes sense. It just looks like your face has been, like, under really hot water. And somebody said something to me about, like, the capillaries in your skin or something like that. Might be it. I don't know. But I can really tell a difference when I use it, though, in my face. I really, really can. And today I, like, I didn't take a shower right after that because I went out and got coffee. I washed it off just with, like, soap and water, and then I put the Aveeno lotion, like, right onto my face after that. I've been trying to trim my beard every day just to keep it, like, shorter, so that I don't like it when my beard gets, like, even if it's just 3 or 4 days long, I don't love that. So I've been trying to, like, trim it to keep it shorter. And oh, the battery is dying. What? How could that be? The battery just started flashing. I have no idea how long this vlog is going to be, you guys. But anyway, I'll end it on the cup of coffee Lush face mask, because with this battery, when it starts flashing, it means literally I have, like, a very short period of time. So, you're watching this on Sunday. I hope you're having a wonderful Sunday. I hope you had a great weekend. Listen, I know people don't want this to turn into a booktube video channel, so it won't. But if you want to do Spookathon, it's a really fun readathon. It starts a week from Sunday, which is today. You're probably watching this. And it's all spooky books. The Spookathon announcement is up on my booktube channel. You can go over there and check it out. It's 5 books in 1 week. Doesn't matter how short the books are. Doesn't matter how long the books are. Doesn't matter if you only read 1 book. It's just something fun to do, to participate if you like to read. So you should go check it out. And yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow. I love you, and I hope you are having a great weekend. Bye.